Anything? What's your beef, Ethan?
Um,
What's the hot thing?
I don't know if it's a hot thing. Again, I didn't write it down again. It's my bad.
Didn't write what down?
Like I had a. Oh, it was about the Great Depression. So I was thinking about, I had to interview when I was in school. I can't remember what grade, but I had to interview someone that lived during the Great Depression, and my grandparents were alive during the Great Depression.
Okay, yeah.
And this only came up because like I have a friend, and we were talking about the Great Depression one time, and he's like, he's like, there were other people that lived normal lives during the Great Depression. Like, it's not like that was everybody everywhere all the time. And I'm like, that's true. And same with like when Spanish flu came about. Like, yes, there are some people who had like both their parents died and they were orphaned, and like towns wrecked and stuff, and whole towns got it, but it's like a bunch of people still, like, things were still fairly normal, right? And so I was thinking about, like, my grandfather told me, so during the Great Depression, I didn't, like, when he was telling me the story, like, really didn't understand, but he's like, one year it was like, he's like, I really wanted this boat, like this toy boat. And he's like, I got it for Chris. Like, there it was on Christmas Day. I got that toy boat. And then he told me how his dad, during the Great Depression, bought a new car every single year for $600, a new Buick specifically. And I'm like, even back then I was like, $600. I don't know exactly what that is in today's money, but yeah, it's crazy. So they're still in the Great Depression, still being able to buy a new car every single year, buy nice, like, maybe they scaled back and they didn't get as many toys and they got like one big toy or something like that. So it's just kind of interesting, all the, how things kind of get spun over time and everything.
Sure.
And it's not to take away from like everything that happened or all the people that had hardships and stuff like that during that time, but it's just like pointing out it wasn't like everybody on the planet.
I'm sure there were plenty of people making money hand over fist at that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were in the right industry and could exact the right leverage and get whatever they wanted. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there is the story of like all the people that, a bunch of people that invested in the stock market off themselves after that Black Monday or whatever. Black Tuesday? I thought it was Black Monday.
I am sadly not a history aficionado.
A fantasy aficionado.
Yeah. No, I tended to favor ancient history more so than like American history. And I just remember I used to look at even American history and I was like, oh, a lot of that stuff that happened so long ago. And the great paradox is that the older I get and the further away I get from those events, like the Great Depression, the more I realize that actually wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I think most of that I think they're probably all gone, but yeah. It wasn't even 100 years ago still.
Right.
And 100 years isn't really that long.
Yeah, I look at when I was a kid, World War II to me was, that was forever ago. Well, I've been living longer since then, than it was from at that point back to World War II.
You think that might be part of it too? Is like when you're a kid, years seem a lot longer, and the older you get, they seem shorter because you have more years under your belt. So like your perception of time changes.
Right. Exactly. It's fascinating.
Which is crazy because then I'm like, I wonder what that 400-year-old tortoise like felt. Like,
Right? That 400-year-old tortoise might have been going, my God, can we just get it over with? This is taking forever.
Are there other animals that live to be super long, like super old?
I thought we discussed that parrots last a long time, don't they?
They do, yeah. The bigger ones do. I mean, they're like human. It's like human length, like 60 to 80 years, yeah. So, yeah, fun fact, don't ever give your grandparents a pet bird for anything. Because it's got to go somewhere after they pass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have to worry about getting my grandparents anything because they have all passed, sadly.
Yeah, mine too.
And I don't think my mother's going to be getting a bird. But my uncle has a parakeet, and he has told many a story. And when I was visiting him this summer, similar to what you were saying about, letting the bird zip around the house, and yeah.
It's funny, so because we got a second one, because like it was kind of rehomed to us, and it's really funny because our bird's like an introvert, I swear. Like not super social, like is social with us kind of, but so we have the second bird, so our bird's more comfortable now. Like we've never seen her sleep during the day, like the way that, like I've never seen her tuck her head back. I don't know if she does it. I don't know if she just stayed awake until this other bird for like 5 years or however long we've had her, 3 years. I don't know if she's just been awake the whole time. I don't know. But now we see them, like they'll sleep together. They like to kind of be by each other. But our bird is like, what's been happening is the other bird wants to be together all the time, and it goes into like our bird's cage, and our bird kind of tolerates that. And we're to the point now where we're like, okay, this is enough. This is her space. You need to stay the F out of her space. And so we're like, all right, we have to figure out a way to like, let her out and then close her cage so that they both can't get in there, but we have to pay attention. So if she wants to go in there, we can let her in there. And so our bird, I think, tolerates the other one, but they don't necessarily get along all the time. So it seems like they're comfortable. She's comfortable. She seems happy. But yeah, she gets like, the other bird like gets close and she's like, no, you got to get away from me.
So like a normal family then.
Yeah, it's really funny. Because that's the thing, like when you get animals, like you don't necessarily know if they like the other animal or something. And so that was something we were actually worried about, was we knew we were going to get two. One of them got eaten by a cat before we got it, but or the cat got it. I don't know if it got eaten. So we were like, well, I mean, we don't know. So I was doing research to like try and figure out like how can we tell if they like each other, if they hate each other, and like it goes back and forth. So yeah, like we have to try and keep them in separate cages. They're not super great at, like, our bird I think would, but they do get a little like skittish if I try and get them down from somewhere, like by calling them down and then trying to walk with them to their cage. Neither one of them really like that. So unfortunately, I do have to go in and grab the other bird out of the cage, but I use a towel so that they don't get scared of hands. Hopefully they understand. They think it's just a yellow thing and not my hand under there. Because we don't want them to be scared of hands. So,
do you have your children asking for other pets?
They all want like a dog. or something. My wife like wants a dog really bad too. So they're all like, "Oh yeah, we want a dog." I'm like, "Oh yeah, so we can take care of it just like we take care of the bird." Which is not. I keep trying to point out, I'm like, I don't think you guys are thinking this through all the way. It's like another baby.
Yeah, can be. And it changes, going on vacation or whatever. It changes the whole planning of that. Yep.
Yeah, we do have to change. We do have to make sure that the birds are taken care of. We're not worried about, we have a way to get them food. It's the fresh water is the big thing. We have to make sure that their water is clean so they don't get sick. Our bird's a very clean bird and like never has been a problem. This other bird just was pooping in their food and their water. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? So I had to change they had a perch that they'd stuck in between the two dishes. And I'm like, let's get that out of here and see if this helps. Because I'm assuming they just sit on the perch and like switch around.
Sure.
And it just happened to be right in it. Yeah, so we have to have someone come by and change the water when we go away.
Have you tallied up the expenses, the annual expenses of owning and operating a bird?
No, the annual expenses aren't too bad. Like food will last quite a while. And then like the millet, like the treat lasts quite a while as well. So there's like, you buy the bird and then there's an initial like additional expense that takes place getting them like a real cage that's not like teeny tiny and getting them toys. I guess we do probably spend $25 to $50 a year on toys depending on how fast they go through them. But toys and perches and things like that. So I mean, we probably spent a couple $100, maybe a little bit more.
Not bad.
Yeah, but no trips to the vet. No, there's no aviary vets around here, so hopefully they never get sick.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that owning a dog is, I'm gonna say $1,300-$1,400 a year.
Yeah, and then as they get older, I've got a friend that's got an older dog, not doing very good, has cancer, doing chemo. I mean, it's like the exact same things that we do with like people, and so
right.
Expensive.
And mine is just food, annual shots, and she's got allergies, so the cost of medication every day, but
is that the what's that group? Is that the group behind you? Crap, I can't remember their name.
No, it is not Critical Role.
Yes, Critical
Role.
No,
that is not. I don't know. So this is just somebody's artwork that I just threw up there. So do you ever watch Critical Role?
No, I can't.
Seen it.
I've seen it. Like I can't, dude. I don't know. I just can't. Like D&D is not my thing. Like I just role playing stuff. Like I just cannot get into it. I'm just bored. So yeah, like I've kind of watched it, and I'm like, no, I'm not really following along. I do have a couple videos I want to send you to of like the group thinks that they have gotten this DM, and it's really funny, but it's like it's very clear that this group plays on a regular basis, all adults probably my age or in between our ages, and so I'll have to send you those. But yeah, even watching that I'm like, this is not my thing. Like I still can't get into it.
Yeah, so I know plenty of people watch it and find it a source of entertainment. I don't watch it. I've seen, parts of episodes, and good on them if they, are making this a thing and it's making them money and it's fun, great. But I struggle to watch people play a game that I would rather be playing. So
yeah, I think the draw is actors and voice actors, and they're really act out the characters and things like that. I think that's kind of the draw. It is always fun because like one of the main guys that did it, he did a voice for Cassidy in Overwatch and was like really popular. So I think Critical Role has a little bit to do with how popular D&D is, and like over the last few years has become. The pandemic probably didn't help, or helped quite a bit.
Yeah, between that and Stranger Things
helped a lot too.
And and then little cameos on things like Big Bang Theory. So that has helped, but I would say probably Stranger Things has helped most.
That's probably got like the younger people interested in, like my kids. All my kids are like, yeah, let's play, and I'm like, okay. Nobody knew anything about it until they saw Stranger Things.
I was going to say, have you played now?
No. So I'm gonna pick up. I think we're gonna get the Stranger Things starter set, and probably do it at least once, and see what they think. They may all hate it.
Sure. So at the office, I ran the second annual Welcome to D&D event, and it was actually a super fun group. And this husband and wife who had seen Critical Role, they wanted to try it. They had a great time, and they were great. And then this other guy, kind of in my age group, if you will, I asked him, what had brought him to play in this game, and he said it was a very interesting story. He said, when I was a kid, I had some of the books and whatnot, but he said I could never find anybody to play with, and I was like, oh wow. And so he played, and it was great. I mean, it was really fun to see him, dive into it, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got a friend, him and his wife played, and then they had a bunch of friends, and we all worked for the same company, and they all played together. And I have and then like my group of friends, they all play, but not with one another. Like they all have their own separate groups that they play with.
Sure.
And I know I had one friend that had two different groups that they played with as well. And one of them was like weekly.
Sure. Yeah. I find it's just like any other hobby in the following regard. If you're playing with people you like, and you all play a similar style, you're all simpatico, it's great. But if you play the game with somebody you don't like, or their style is wildly different, it's just like anything else. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. But if it's a good group, makes it super fun. So
it's like so there's a new expansion coming out for World of Warcraft, and so a bunch of people have been playing it on Twitch, and I'm like, maybe, like, it's there, maybe I can install it, try it out for a month, see. I haven't played it for a long time, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I was like, no. I'm like, wait, okay, let's go watch some people play and see how I feel about it, and then remember why I quit. And
why did you quit?
So I go watch, and I'm like, yeah, this is not super interesting. So I played because I played with friends, like in real life friends. And then through playing with those friends, met other people. Like one of my friends and his wife met in World of Warcraft, and like hit it off in the game, and then like started dating long distance. And then she came out to meet him, and I took him to the airport. He was like super nervous. It was really funny. And
they're married now?
They're married now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I played to play with friends, like, and we all played in the beginning. I actually played in the beta too, and it was a blast. Had got in with a guild in the beta, so then when the game came out, took a few days off from work, played the game, had already had a guild, already had a group of people, and then I made it to probably like level 55, and I stopped playing. And then because all my friends had quit playing. I didn't realize this at the time, but they all quit playing, and I just got tired of the grind. And or they were like, one of them was still raiding, and I didn't have any interest in raiding. And then Wrath of the Lich King was coming out in a couple months, and they all started. Some of them started playing again, and sucked me back in, and I played. Wrath of the Lich King was a blast. Miss Pandaria was fun. Like, I played probably up until Cataclysm, and then after Cataclysm I was like, or the war one, maybe it was after Cataclysm even. And it was just, I was the only one left. Like, none of my friends were playing. I wasn't in a guild. I had no interest in being in a guild, and I was just like, I get it. I played and I liked it because it was social. It was a way for me to hang out with my in real life friends without us needing to spend time to go somewhere, and it was just very easy for us to do. And so that's why I quit. Nobody played. So then I was like looking at picking it up, and I'm like, that's probably a dumb idea.
I never played World of Warcraft. I knew people who did, and I have no idea why I didn't. But
it was fun. Horde for life. I was the first one of my friends. Like, they all wanted to be Alliance, and that was the guild. So I was in the Alliance, but I was like a night elf rogue, so I was like on the fringe, right, of the Alliance. But I'd always wanted to be Horde. I always wanted to be a shaman, and I think I rolled an alt or something, and I rolled an alt and on a PvP server, and I was done. I'm like, I have no way. Screw you guys. I'm not going back to Alliance. And it was so funny because none of them were into it, and then a couple of them saw me playing it. We were like having a LAN party, and we all took our computers physically to somebody's house, and we hooked them all up to the
I remember that. That was a thing. Yep.
We played games, and so they watched me play, and some of them were like, that looks like fun. I'm like, yeah. And then one of my friends, like, he is Alliance till he dies. He was so angry. He's like, you just run around and you just jack people like that just cuz? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that is so rude. I'm like, that's the game, man. But he was so angry that that I would do that.
You had gone to the dark side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we PvP'd for a long time. It was a blast. Then they started putting all, like, a natural PvP is what we liked, and they started putting mechanics in that removed all of it. So it was less fun. But yeah, Horde for life for me. So I was sad when Thunderbluff kind of went away and they killed the dude. That was a bummer. Yeah, Tauren, Shaman. So that's why the Shaman thing's really funny too. That I think you have a character in one of your games, but that guy, Brad Rowe, how he went to see the Shaman and everything. I thought that was pretty funny. I never told you about World of Warcraft and the Shaman. But it wasn't, so it was only one race could be the Shaman at the beginning, and it was the Tauren, and they were like a bunch of hippie cows that lived on the top of like some plateaus.
Well,
it was a blast.
You're reminiscing about this and getting all lit up about it. I'm shocked that you're not back playing already.
Well, it's because that's what it was. That's not what it will be.
Oh. Okay. So what is your current fascination? Because for a long time it was Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. That's another one where that's easier to play when you have like a crew to play with. It could be 1 to 3 other people. But the time commitment is just, it's a lot. And this is going to be weird because Overwatch is like one of my favorite games ever, I think. And so they just released Overwatch 2. It's fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. And the thing I like about that is I prefer unranked because they're like 5 to 8 minute games. The game that I played like a long time ago, Counter-Strike, it was a specific one. It's just, I like that. Play some games, play as long as you need to, take a break, because I got kids and stuff to do. But Sea of Thieves, it's like there's like a time commitment when you do that. If you want to kind of accomplish things in the game, like you can just go and do dumb stuff and, you know, like just stock up the boat and then leave after like 15-20 minutes if you want to. Like you can do that kind of stuff. But I prefer not to. So yeah, so I like the ability to be able to like step away from the game with no ramifications or anything like that. So Overwatch is very easy to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, so Overwatch and Farming Simulator 22. Farming Simulator, that's it was funny. My wife came down and I was playing and she's just, I'm like, I can tell that you're judging me. And I'm like, this is the deal. I'm like, I deal with people all day long and they're very organic and spontaneous. And this is not that. There's a set of rules. It's monotonous. Like I can just kind of turn my brain off for a little bit while I do this kind of thing. And so that's kind of fading. Overwatch is more fun. So put some time into that. And then my friends will play that. They tried. They've never been into that game, which is totally fine. It's like me and Diablo. Like I've never been into it. I own a few of them, but
Really, you own them, but you haven't played them.
I played, I think 3 and 4 is what I own. I can't remember. I think the last one that came out was 4 or something. And they're like, yeah, we're all playing all the time. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then no, it wasn't like they boosted me quite a ways. And I'm like, no, this isn't my thing. I've got a couple friends that play Final Fantasy. Never been into that. We'll see. I think gaming might be done. Might be done for me soon. We'll see.
Have you played the new IT Project Manager 2 that just came out? That is awesome.
No, is that on Steam? I don't think there's an IT project manager, but there is an office manager game. Like I know you're making, like, I feel like you're making a joke, but
there's a bunch of farmers who are totally into it. Yeah. They're like, by day I'm dealing with all these crops and these livestock. I want a more complex problem than this. Or maybe they're like, you know, the complexity of farming is so bad. They're like, I just want to dumb this down and just, you know, run an IT project. Right.
I have a friend
That's probably what it is.
I have a friend whose dad is a farmer, and she's actually, they offered her a position on the farm, and she's probably going to take it over here in the next few years. And so, like, I started playing Farming Sim in Farming Sim 14, maybe? I can't remember. But 17's like the one, I think. And like, I would kind of tease her a little bit about like, hey, I'm doing this. It's like really this easy, right? It's just like, it's, you know, all the seeds are done in like a couple hours, and then like the next day, like I just go harvest it and then make bank, right? Like that's how it is. She's just rolling her eyes. Yes, but there are sim games, like the sim games is like that is a very popular genre. There's house flipping simulator, there's power washing simulator, there's gas station operator simulator, PC building simulator I do own, which is a lot of fun actually for a little while. Yep, farming simulator, there's lawnmower simulator. It is hilarious. So like, I know you're making a joke, but the thing you don't realize is I'm pretty sure there is one that's called Office Manager Simulator. So you were like IT Project Manager 2.0, and I was like, well, there was one that was close. Is there a second one of that one?
I don't know. I didn't think there could be such a thing. Now, granted, you know, I can see why there would be now that I think about it, because of all the glamour that comes with being in IT. You know, because if you think about it, you know, as when I was going to college, it was like, you know, how to attract the women. Well, it was going to pro sports, being in entertainment, or going to IT. Those are the top three. And so I chose IT. By
Makes
the way, I
sense.
do have a beef today. My beef today is leaf blowers. Uh,
I have one.
uh, the only reason I say this is because a neighbor a couple doors down from me has like a lawn service come, and they were out there with the leaf blower, and I had, while I was working, I had kind of how you just tune things out. And then after like 2 hours of the leaf blower running, all of a sudden my consciousness kicks in and says, this is awful. I mean, it was drilling into my brainstem at one point. And I mean, I'm okay with lawnmowers. Yeah, they're loud, they're whatever, snow blowers, leaf blowers brings annoyance to a whole new level.
Yeah, because it's like the leaf blower and the weed whacker engine. They're smaller. The leaf blower is higher pitched, but you put it on and it just stays on till the job's done. Like the weed whacker, there's breaks in between. And I mean, usually those professional ones are a little bit lower too, but yeah, the leaf blowers are, yeah. I think I went out for lunch and or a walk or something, and I heard one. I'm like, who's leaf blowing? And I couldn't see anybody. No idea. They could have been like the next street down for all I know. I don't know. But I was gonna say, so do you have like a teeny tiny lawn with no trees? Because we've got a couple oak trees, and those bad boys do not like to let go of their leaves until November.
They don't like. Sometimes I've got a couple of oak trees, and I have a bunch of maples. I have 4 maples, an elm, and an oak. And sometimes the oak tree is like, yeah, I'm not going to let these go until you've cleaned up your yard.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to drop them. The oak tree just decides whenever.
Yep. And that's what I cleaned them up. We did all of ours on Sunday. It was like the last like really nice day for this like 2-week period, and it was dry and we had rain that was coming. So we do it, and I knew that we were going to get wind because of the warm air from the south and the cold air from the north. And so we get it all cleaned. It looks really good. I wasn't the only one. A whole bunch of people did it too. And then the next day, it's windy and all the freaking trees, all the leaves that haven't fallen are starting to fall now. And now they're being blown all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but it's like, yeah, still a lot more to go.
I had that happen to me last year. I think I did leaf cleanup 4 times. Because I also have like a little, it's kind of like a, the vinyl coated chain link fence runs around my yard. And that is a leaf catcher for yards. Yeah. From within a 2-yard radius of me. It'll catch everything.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of a pain. I'm grateful for it when I'm letting my dog out, because I don't need to worry about, where the dog goes. But man,
the first year we were in this house, we did manual cleanup, and then the second year I'm like, I'm going to get a leaf sweeper. The problem, which worked great, except for it was too many leaves. Like, it was so much work to sweep up the leaves and then try and bag them, to the point where it was less work to just do it manually with a rake, because it would just fill up so quickly. And then I just ignored it for a while. I'm a big fan of the mowing method.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you kind of, and it was funny. My son, I made him mow the lawn, and he didn't mow it all. And I'm like, what do you after? So then I'm like, well, it's getting dark, so I got to do it. So I do it. And then I come in, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, why did you not do that? And he's like, the leaves. I'm like, that's why you're mowing. Like, the grass isn't growing. You're mowing to chop up all the leaves because they're dry, and like, it's better than having to bag them all. I'm like, I'll get you back. Don't worry. I'll get you back this fall or next summer season or something like that.
Yeah, my yard, I think I bagged about 50 of those huge bags last year.
Yeah,
That
we did
was-
the bags. I had less problem with the bags when they would come pick them up, but then, you know, because it was like part of the service when we first moved out here, you know, that we would get a certain amount per week during the summer, and then they changed it. And it's like, no, you have to pay the whole year for a service, but you still only get a certain amount per week.
Oh, really? Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, so now I have to bag it all up, and then I have to put it in a trailer or the back of the truck and take them over there and then unload them myself. Or I could just wait and chop them up. This year, we've got a hill that's got a bunch of trees, and it's kind of a steep hill. And so this year I've blowed them all down to form like a little like leaf wall towards the bottom of the hill, so that this winter, when the snow falls, I will have like a built-in kind of berm to be used for the bobsled course I'm gonna put in for sledding.
Awesome.
Because otherwise our kids will just go right down it and off the giant thing into the driveway.
That's excellent. You got to build the bobsled trail.
Yep.
I remember that well. Yeah.
So we'll see. It's this has been a very warm year. I don't ever remember it being at this warm this late in the season.
Mm-hmm. And no rain. We haven't had any rain. You know, this. I don't know what the record is or what the annual measurement has been, but it has been terrible. I can only imagine what some of these states, you know, out west, that when they deal with this and they've got fires and whatnot. You know, we're not quite that bad, but
Yeah.
if we get another year next year like this one, no bueno.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I mean, so we're looking at having the same amount of rainfall, but just more of it at one time. And so that's why even the averages don't necessarily tell you the whole story, because we might have the same average or the same amount of rain in a given month, but only get it one time, rather than spread out, you know, through the month of May and April, instead of getting snow in April.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see. I don't really remember ever any warm Halloweens as a kid. I'm pretty sure that there was some, especially maybe when I was like teenager or a little bit younger, because I feel like I do remember going out in like normal kind of summery fall clothes. But our kids were, you know, a bunch of them have costumes that are shorts, and I'm like, you guys, you got to wear stuff under it, and they're so mad. No, you're gonna ruin it. I'm like, listen, I'm like, if it's like 20 degrees outside when we're trying to do this, you're gonna freeze and it's gonna be miserable. I'm like, okay, because we're doing something different this year, because I think I talked about this. They have a group of friends that are all Stranger Things, so we're having like a party at somebody's house, and so it'll be different, I think. I'm like, well, just bring it just in case, and then if you need it, we have it.
Is anybody gonna, you know, be chain smoking the whole time, going as Billy?
No, nobody wants to be Billy. I think everybody hates Billy. I was teasing my youngest. I was like, Max is dead. Did not appreciate that. They already know what Stranger Things 5 is going to be called, because they've seen the poster.
Really?
Apparently. I'm like, no, I don't like to do that. I'm like, I don't like to see any previews. If I want to see a movie or a show, like, I just want to go watch it. I don't care what the story is prior to me seeing it.